been a while, I know, and I apologize. I don't really have an excuse. I've just been busy and not remembering to set up the camera. In one of my first videos, I talked about having a flood coolant system that I made, so I figured I would show that to you guys. And then make some slight improvements to it. So I've got a little cheap, I think it was like $10 pump for a water fountain feature. These are really cheap, they're submersible, and they're designed to run even if there's gunk and crud in the water, so it works really well for a flood coolant system. I've got a little ammo can that it goes in, and it suction cups to the bottom, and then I can run this up and around the spindle on my milling machine, and I can angle it wherever I want it, plug it in, and it pumps water through. It's not real high pressure, it's just a nice little flow going through. I can adjust it a little bit and turn the flow down or up, but I just run it full blast because it's really not that much. And then I've got a piece of tubing coming off the back of the bed from the flood coolant system that my grandfather had built 30-something years ago. So I just plug into that so it flows back in. I've got a magnet that it flows over the top of to collect anything that makes it through and in. And then I've got another magnet I usually have zip tied onto here at the pump just to keep anything from going in the last second. But after having this one up top where the water comes in, I've never actually had a whole lot build up on the smaller magnet, so I'm just kind of giving up on that one and just leaving with this one in. So what I'm going to try to do today is cut part of this out so that I have a piece where I can just suspend the magnet kind of about 2-3 inches below. I'm going to use some wire so I can just set the magnet in. The tube will come in through the top and dump all the water and coolant back straight directly over the top of the magnet. So that'll hopefully collect any loose pieces of steel that float through. I know that non-magnetic stuff is obviously not going to stick to this, and that's just something you deal with when you're running cheapo little pumps like this. It'll cost me a whopping $10–15 to replace the pump if it goes bad, and it's not like it's permanently fixed to anything. You just switch it out and go. Alright, so step one, cut a little notch out for the cord to go through. I just left the plastic there because it really doesn't need to be completely cut off, and it'll actually help keep the cord pressed up against the side of the power cord, that is. And I'm going to put a hole for the pickup or the output in the middle, and then return towards the front so that they're not right on top of each other. So I've got a 3/8 drill bit here. I'm just going to punch a little hole right through the middle here. I've got my output hole and a spot for the cord to come out. So next, this is my return line, and it's about the exact same diameter, but it's a little bit softer and a little bit thinner walled than this stuff here. So I have a little bit smaller drill bit for that because I kind of want it to stay in place a little bit easier. So take this thing back out. And I want to leave enough space away from the front edge to fit this magnet in. So if I set it right here, there's a little cavity created by the handle and the edge, and that magnet fits with about 1/4 inch on each side of it if I go right in the middle of that. So that's where I'm going to go. Make sure that holds it like I want to. This end's all hard, corroded. And covered in oil, so it's really slick, which makes it really easy and awesome for the video. And that's perfect. That holds pretty tight, so don't have to worry about it popping out too easily. And then I need to make a little fixture to hold my magnet. Now I've got some 1/16 TIG filler that I think will be plenty for holding this thing. And I figure what I can do is just punch little tiny holes into the ribs here and bend this on a small scale, about like that, with hard corners. One this way, one this way, it'll make a nice little X that will hold the magnet. Actually, I might just make a couple L-shaped pieces, because it does have a center hole, and I could put just 3 of them actually and loop them in the magnet like this, so that they're all holding. I don't know if you guys, how well that's going to turn out for you guys, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I had this whole thing planned out in my mind, and then I get out here and start working on it, and that plan just disappears on me. So, let's see how far. Make sure I have enough to bend it here. As long as I get them all bent the same way, I should hold it pretty nicely. That's 2, and last but not least, what I'm doing to get this the same length, I'm just putting pressure against the bottom so it evens them out, and then I can come in here with my little dikes and snip her off. And they all turned out to be roughly the exact same length. Whenever you do stuff like this, I know most of you guys watching this probably know this, but always stick with one. I took the first one, it has the TIG filler identifier stamped into it here, so that's the one I used to size all the rest of them, so everything's cut off of one length. Now, I need to get a small little drill bit here to break easies and figure out about where I need to put these guys to get it evenly spaced here. That's centered there. Just making little marks here with my knife to get 3 points that are about even. It's not like they need to be perfect or exact by any means necessary, so I'm just eyeballing the height. I'm sure they're going to be a little bit off, but it's not like it's rocket science. Next, I need to make a little hook here. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to even this tip out with the very edge of the pliers here, and then make the first fold. And then I've got some needle nose to make another little fold on the top here so that it hooks around and stays in well without coming out. I guess that'll work. Repeat the steps here. That didn't work. Follow down and vice do it the same way. And the last one. This little slight bend I'm putting on the end is really not essential that it be in line with the others, which is good because I don't seem to be able to hang on to this stupid thing right now. Alright. So that should be plenty for these to hook in here. Come together. If I did this right, I've got a little magnet hanging down from inside the lid that will somewhat stay put. Just hold it back, drop the lid down. I may have put that a little bit too close, but I think it'll still work. This way, I can latch it down and it's not going to slide all over the place like it was before. Before you bump it and it falls over and you got water-soluble oil all over my garage. I was just getting frustrated with it, so I figured I'd do a couple little things and I'd bring you guys along for the ride. So I think we're pretty much done. Magnet, I might make some other pieces that roll over to actually completely entrap the magnet, because it is kind of a pain in the butt having to hold on to it like that. But that's the basic build. I'll throw it all together and get it hooked back up to my milling machine and show you guys how it works. Another little trick might be kind of pointless for some of you, but I thought it was cool for mixing ratios. The soluble oil that I'm using is for machining or grinding, and it's a 10-to-1 to 30-to-1 mixture for machining, and I want to go right about in the middle. 10-to-1 ratio is 1 2/3 cup to a gallon. So I'm going to go a little bit under that. I'm going to go 1 cup to the gallon. I don't know about you guys, but my wife doesn't like it when I use her nice measuring cups for my water soluble oil. So what I do is I fill up a 1 cup measurement, pour it into a little red Solo cup, and then figure out which line I need to go to. And for this, it's the 4th line from the top edge to get my mix ratio correct. And then I gotta always keep a 1 gallon container out here so that I can pour this stuff in and keep any excess always mix it in the same exact size. And then I'll go and top this off, shake it up, and pour in what I need. Alright, so here is the setup I have. Like I said, I just bend the copper tubing around wherever I need it. And I'm good to go. This is the drain that my grandfather, I'm sure, built onto this thing, because I don't think they came with air tool fittings on there, but I just have it going here, runs into the tank, runs back out and up and over. I'll go ahead and kick it on. I use these are just like 1/8 or 3/32 thickness Lexan. I just set them down into the grooves of the table and put a little piece of a hanger on here that keeps the splashing down to a minimum. One other thing that I need to do is get a switch wired into this thing, because it is kind of a pain in the butt. And there you have it. Nice, quiet. You can barely hear the hum. The splashing is louder than the hum from the motor, and you can move it wherever you need it. And for, you know, 15, 20 bucks, it's not a bad deal. What I was thinking I'd like to do is wire it into the power switch on the milling machine so that it only has power when the milling machine's on, so I can turn the milling machine on, flip the switch, get power going to it, and then when I shut off the milling machine, I don't have fluid spraying out everywhere. If I do that, I will make a video, but hopefully I will be getting a new machine here soon. A buddy of mine is getting rid of a Smithy Granite, the 3-in-1 machines. It's the Industrial Max version, and I will be giving this Clausing milling machine and the old Atlas Craftsman lathe to my father, so he can start playing and tinkering in his retirement too. So hope you guys like the video. Let's see if I can flip you guys around. I'm holding the camera by hand, so it's a little bit difficult. There we go. If you guys have any suggestions or stuff you want me to do, want me to try, go ahead, I'm game. Also, any advice, if I'm doing something and you're watching and you're thinking, God, what is he doing? He's a retard. Tell me. I am completely open to suggestions. Like I said in my very first video, I don't really know everything. I don't even assume to know everything. I'm sure my knowledge compared to all the rest of the guys out there is very, very minimal. But I'm here to learn. I'd like to, help people if I can, but at the very least, I'd like to learn some more. So if you guys have stuff you want to chime in, go ahead and throw it in the comments. And thanks for watching.